Good morning, Cam Girl. And I wanted to show you guys this read that I did yesterday on myself. And I meant to come back here and share it with you guys, but I didn't. Got a little bit tired and went ahead and watched me a movie and went to bed. And so I left the cards out, and let them so-called breathe, if you understand that in the spirit. And I want to come back here to not only do this video for just my webcam models, but also to whoever needs to hear it. These are the 3 cards that got pulled out. And I pulled from my happiness cards, you guys, for those that don't know. Those are my happiness cards. I've had them for like 5 years. I've had these cards, and I'm going to share something with you. I don't remember the exact order, but the first one was, actually I do. The first one was that came out was remember. And this was remember. It says reminisce about happy memories, right? Sometimes when we look back in our past, we're always thinking about the negative side of things, the bad things that happen. And specifically to my webcam models, guess what? You can think back on a time you had a good old time in your shows and your broadcasts where that day was really good, and you remember that feeling, because remember, whatever state of being that you are in the present, based on how you look at your past, is going to be how you feel in that moment. Let me say it in a different way. When you look at your past and you're focused on the negative stuff, how does it make you feel in the present? And so if you go back to nostalgia, some might call it that, and you look back, way back in the day, and why do people get happy? They get the nostalgic feelings. Why do they get that kind of way? And they even say, especially if you're older like yours truly, excuse me, and you say something like, oh, I remember back in the day, I was nothing to be played with. I was hot stuff. I was this, I was that. But the truth is, you don't even have to go that far back. It depends, again, how you perceive your past. And I'm not saying that there are people, myself included, that don't have PTSD, that don't have, didn't have trauma to where sometimes the mind does or the body does, right? Can go back to defensive mode, fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. I'm not saying that, but outside of that, for just a second, think back on the happy times that you had, right? Happy times in your life, especially, again, to my webcam models, where you felt like, and I'm winning the game. And for those that are not even in the business, where you look back on your life and go, I did really good last year. I did really good 3, 4, 5 years ago. Or how some people look back on the pandemic and go, oh, it was good for me. Some people started their businesses through the pandemic. And so my point is to basically go back into, and reminisce. There's a song by Mary J. Blige, and I think Method Man. Yeah, Method Man. And I think it's Reminisce on the... No, that's a separate one. I think. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But she does have a song that's Reminisce on the times we had. Dun, 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 dun. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And so to reminisce and go back, it's the good feeling. She's going back to that place where things were good, because how you feel right now can also predict your future. This is why I often tell people, I've never said I was psychic. I'm just intuitive. I'm a feeler. You know what I mean? FEELER, right? I can feel, what do I feel about my past? What do I feel in this moment? And when I think back on the good parts, and one of my favorite songs by Michael Jackson is, I think about the good times we shared together. Oh my God, I love that song. There's another song that comes to my mind, and you guys really know this one. Back down memory lane, right? I ran across a photograph, kind of made me laugh. Look at here, look at there, right? So reminiscing and going backwards is a sweet place to be, right? Depending on how you look at it. And then I went over and I saw this was my second card, but I'm going to spend a little bit more time here on this one, because this is the one that out of the 5 years I've had these cards, this third card never gotten pulled. It actually fell out of the deck last night. And so I will come back to this one, but the second card, I will go here. This one says, be your own BFF. How many of y'all need this right here? Be your own BFF, okay? Even to you, Cam Girl. I know that you guys listen at me as maybe your inspiration. That's good and that's great. That's what I'm here for. But when you're your own best friend, when your own BFS, best friend forever, being that for yourself, you cannot go wrong. You can't go wrong when you actually, in other words, how do you show up for other people? How do I show up for other people? You know, however you're showing up for other people, and if you're the webcam on and you're listening, how do you show up for your guys and your clients? Do you put them first all the time? You know what I mean? Are you always like, oh my gosh, I got to get those pictures out. I got to get those pictures out. I got to get this content out. I gotta, and it's running you ragged. And that's just for anybody who has a job that is running them into the ground because you're not being your own best friend. If you had a bestie, or you do have a bestie, what would you tell your bestie if they were doing too much, over exerting themselves? You would say, oh, you need to take a break, you need to slow down. You would tell her those sweet things, right? Or tell him, her, whoever. And so it says, support yourself as you would support a friend. What I just said, exactly what I just said, right? And so let's get into this third one. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna come back on the third one because it's so sweet. I'm gonna stop this right here, and because I'm gonna take a deep dive on this one right here, you guys. And I don't want this video to be too long, but again, this is foundation is for my webcam models on this happy Wednesday, and it's also for those who need to hear it. I think when I speak from a place of, this can be applied to anyone, right? Not just us girls in the industry. So anywho, bye for now, you guys. I'll be back with more, and let me know if you guys want to see more of this. But this was my own personal read, something that I do, not all the time, but before I log into work. And so just wanted to share it with you guys because I'm like, this is not just for me. This is for my webcam models, and this is also for whoever needed to hear it. And look at my hand just going. And this one too can just keep going. Bye for now, y'all. I'll be back.